G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic afternoon. Before I start this review, I would like to apologise for my camera. I look very, very white. No, I'm not auditioning for a role in Twilight. My lamp is working, so I turned it on just to give it a little bit more clear. But unfortunately, it makes me look very, very white. Now, usually I am white. Naturally, I'm a fair-skinned sort of person, but I'm not this white, so don't be afraid. I'm not dead. I am just looking unusually white, as my webcam likes to betray me as. So anyway, that doesn't matter. Hopefully the appearance doesn't put you off an interesting enough review. So this film definitely is an interesting film, so hopefully makes you want to go out there and see it, because I think it's certainly worth it. So it's a Danish/Scottish film. So it doesn't have any English it doesn't have foreign language, so there are no English subtitles. So it's entirely in English, so it's no excuse not to watch it now. It's set in Scotland. There are some Scottish people behind the scenes, but the majority of it is Danish. There's a Danish director. Majority of the production is Danish, and the lead actor is Dane. So, yeah, there's a little bit of both Scandinavian and UK in this one. So it's directed by, well, it was released in 2009, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, who also directed the Pusher trilogy, which is a trilogy of Danish mafia movies, and more recently, I'm sure you all seen this film, Drive. It's a Hollywood film, and he was behind that one. So if you like the way that was made, then hopefully you find this one, at least it gets your curiosity up to go and see it. And this one is called Valhalla Rising. Now this stars Mads Mikkelsen, who is a very, very underrated actor, so if you're a fan of him, then he is in this film. He is the main role. So the story is as follows. From the acclaimed director of the Pusher trilogy and Bronson comes Valhalla Rising, the brutal epic story of a mute Scandinavian slave known only as One Eye. An intriguing tale of Norse mythology, religious historiography, and ultra-violence. Valhalla Rising is epic, brutal, and utterly captivating. A former Viking is abandoned in Scotland. One Eye is a skilled and brutal warrior who is treated more like an animal than a man. Shackled and tormented, One Eye must compete in vicious fights to the death for the amusement of his captors. But One Eye's fate takes a different course when he manages to escape, and, after meeting a group of crusaders, is convinced to join them in the fight for the Holy Land. So Mads Mikkelsen plays One Eye. His name's One Eye because he's only got one eye. He is a deaf mute, so he doesn't talk throughout the entire film, but he has a very, very intimidating presence. People are afraid of this guy because they believe that because he was from overseas, he is from hell. And they all think that he is the bringer of bad luck, and they're all very, very wary of him. So he's been held captive in the Scottish Highlands by these Scottish warriors, and he is forced to compete in these fights to the death. Now, they're slaves. They just basically fight to the death for the amusement of the captors. So it's a very brutal sort of upbringing that One Eye is living, but he, slaughters a lot of people in the name of fun, and he eventually escapes. Now, he brutally slaughters his captors in a very gory fashion, and this is where he takes a kid. Now, this kid was part of the captors. I don't know if he was a son of one of the warriors or if he was kidnapped himself, but One Eye takes a liking to this kid, and they travel across country together. Now, this kid has some sort of supernatural connection with One Eye. Now, this is where the Norse mythology comes in. And it's not quite, I wouldn't say it's a supernatural film, but there is a supernatural kind of connection where the kid can basically read what One Eye is trying to say without even saying it. So they're travelling across the country of the Highlands in Scotland, very, very unforgiving terrain, and this is where they come across another band of Scottish warriors. Now, these Scottish warriors are in fact crusaders, and they are waiting for their chance to join up forces in the Holy Land to preach the word of God. So the leader of this band of warriors is a nutjob. He's a religious freak, and he believes everything in the God's name. So it's a fanatical sort of religious pack. So they ask One Eye if they want to join them, if he wants to join them in this crusade, that they're going to sail overseas and go there because they hear that One Eye is a ferocious warrior and they could really use the help. So One Eye basically accepts. He's along with the kid. The kid goes into the boat as well, and they sail for the Holy Land. But they don't end up getting there. They end up getting to a completely different place, and this is where they start losing their mind. And the word of God, they keep faith, but faith is really starting to split them in half, because half of this Scottish crusade, they don't trust One Eye. They believe that all the bad luck they're getting is down to One Eye's presence, so they want One Eye gone. But the guy who is the leader of this fears One Eye, and that there's going to be repercussions if they get rid of him. So basically, from that point on, it's just a tale of descent into madness as this band of small warriors end up turning on each other. So that's as far as I'm going to go. If you want to know more, please go out there and see the film for yourself. Hopefully that synopsis was interesting enough for you to get your attention. So what I thought of this film. A lot of people said, avoid this film because it's painfully slow, that it's pretentious and not a lot happens. So I didn't want to get it to start with because it was quite a hefty price here in Australia. But then I saw it was only about $15. So I thought I definitely want to have a go because I'm a big fan of Mads Mikkelsen, who plays the main character, and I'm a big fan of Danish cinema and, you know, Scottish cinema as well. I saw where this was shot in the Scottish sort of highlands, and I thought, you know, it looked very, very dark and weird. So I thought, you know, I'm going to give this a shot with the right expectation that it's not going to be an action film. And for that very reason, that I went into that with the right expectation, knowing what to expect, I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. I was really surprised by this, and I think it's a greatly underrated film, and that a lot of people crap all over this, and I think it's unjustified, to be honest, because it doesn't, you know, it does come across as an action film, but it doesn't pretend to be an action film. There is a bit of action at the start, there's a bit of good gore, and there's some good gore at the end, but the gore is few and far between because it's not a gory sort of tale, it's a very psychological tale. Now, One Eye, he has a very intimidating presence, but half of the scary factor on him comes from the atmosphere, and the tension that the director manages to create was second to none. Therefore, I was left, you know, very, very tense throughout the entire film. I was really, really interested in what was going on because it's a superbly written film and it's a superbly shot film, and it really does bring a sense of dread, and that's exactly what I like. And for those of you who like this kind of cinema, I'm sure you're going to really like it as well. Now, the acting, Mads Mikkelsen did not talk throughout the entire film. He just used body language, and he used it to perfection. This guy is a very, very underrated actor, one of the most underrated actors I've ever come across. I'm a big fan of his, and he shows his versatility once again with a mute sort of role, which is, you know, kind of easy, but then again it is quite kind of hard to create a character out of nothing. Now, the supporting cast, they were all very dirty, and that's what the film is, very dirty. You can feel the pain that these people are going through, and there's only a limited set of characters, so it's kind of like they're the only ones in this world, and that this world isn't quite reality, and that's what brings over the supernatural sort of aspect to the film. So although it's not a straight out ghost story, there is some sort of presence in the film that is maybe, you know, of an upper sort of power. So the cinematography was fantastic. It really, really was. The colouring was perfect, and it kind of feels like you're going on some sort of acid trip. Now, I don't know what an acid trip is like, but, you know, I kind of guess that it's a nightmarish sort of out of this world dreamlike atmosphere, and that's what the film really does portray very, very well. Now, the cinematography was excellent. The lighting was brilliant. There is one scene that is just talking, that's on a boat, and I thought it was probably my favourite scene out of any movie. It was just so intense, but there was hardly any action happening, and, you know, a lot of people would consider that boring, but if you can look under the surface, it really does bring a chilling sort of atmosphere, and I really, really liked it. A lot of people were confused with the ending. I thought it was very, very good, but I understand why people don't like it. But yeah, it kind of left a lot open to be, you know, for your own interpretation. But if that's your kind of thing, then I would highly recommend you getting this. So yeah, as I said, the gore is pretty good when it happens, but it's not excessive and it's not over the top. So a very, very good film. I would highly recommend it. A lot of critics crapping all over this, which is fair enough, each to their own. Not everyone likes the same movie, but as far as I'm concerned, if you like your psychological kind of film, I would highly recommend this. I was very, very impressed. I'm giving this 4 stars out of 5. It's a very good movie, very, very underrated, and I would highly, highly recommend getting this if you're a fan of sort of Norse, Viking sort of mythology, and if you're a fan of the nightmarish sort of psychedelic film as well. So, very, very good film. The story doesn't really take off anywhere. It's more of a character case into insanity. So it doesn't really require you to follow a plot. It's just really a descent into madness, and I thought, yeah, it was very, very good. So this gets 4 out of 5 from me. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.